So we're discussing a functionality plan here. The overall goal would be to deadline. And it's functional and stable. So that's basically the overall goal. And then the outcome of this would result in, success, being successful. The other context of this is that, as an organization, as a co-op, we would either get work done and have and be functional, be successful to pay everyone, or we would not get work done and then not have to pay for not getting work done, so the organization would be stable. I think that's kind of the general idea. I feel like in practice, though, we're obviously still going to be paying everybody even if the work doesn't get done. I mean, everyone gets paid for their time regardless, but it would at least give a little bit of flexibility to the organization to not go bankrupt because all the workers don't get the work done. So the only thing I think that is not really that's not really like directly clear here is that when it's not addressed. So
Time to pause. Please stop. Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
So for me, the main thing that's not addressed for the plans currently set up is that, let's say we hire 200 hours per month or per week of work to be done, right? And then you have 100 hours of work get done, right? And half your workers either don't show up, work less than they said, or literally just like are sick or take leave or whatever, right? So currently we don't really have any way of dealing with this. Like, for example, we could have inactive workers who are hired who are activated, who are automatically activated when a worker takes leave, right? So we could do some sort of model where basically we always have people coming in and out so that we're always have a consistent workforce, right? To ensure a consistent work hours support for all the work. The problem with this is that I don't know if it's how ethical it is. This may not be ethical because the idea is that you come back from leave, and just because you come back, like if you think about it, like if someone was if someone went on leave, and then you would automatically activate a worker when someone else takes leave, it sounds great. But then when someone comes back from leave, you would automatically deactivate the worker and basically, stop them. So that's where the problem comes in, right? And so is that really ethical? So I think it's perfectly ethical to activate somebody when someone leaves. The problem is that when they come back a week or 2 weeks later, to automatically deactivate that person just because someone comes back is not particularly ethical. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like, oh yeah, I'm activated, I have a job. Oh, they came back a week later and now I don't have any work anymore. So it's like, it's more of like a substitute So we could try to create like a new type of position, like a substitute position, some sort of temporary, like it's different than a normal worker. This is very different than a normal worker.
Time for breath. Please stop and get ready. Now inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Pause. Inhale together. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. Relax.
Also, if you think about like a full-time worker is 30 hours per week. You can already see here that basically 10% of our time is basically general responsibility, right? Main sessions, communications, getting organized, coordination. So two things come to mind here. One is that if you are working less than 10 to 15 hours per week, there's really not a lot that you can contribute in the bigger scale, right? So in that context, it's definitely more helpful to have full-time workers. And then the second thing is that a lot of, a substitute worker just may not have much ability to do anything because they're of the training and just like in general, they might be spending all the time just figuring out everything and just trying to do the general responsibilities. So anyways, I mean, for me, this is a major issue that I think about for years and years, and I don't have a solution to it. But obviously, you can see from week to week, our team is just not present, right? People just come and go. People are sick. People are not. They don't meet their commitment week to week, and that has a massive effect on our ability to get work done and meet deadlines. It's like, oh yeah, everything's going great, and then the next week, someone's sick or can't show up to work, which is perfectly fine. I mean, no one should be working while they're sick. But then, boom, we can't meet the deadline because someone,
No.
stepped out. We don't have a replacement for them, right? And we don't really have the ability in our budget to hire extra people, and pay extra people to be around. So I don't know. This is a problem that I don't know the solution to, and I've been thinking about this for many years. So it's like, either kind of creating some sort of substitute position that just everybody who signs up for it knows that they're just there for a couple days or a week just to fill in, or it's like, some other solution that I just don't know about. Anyways, going back to the overall financial instability plan, let's go through the categories. So these are our main categories of functionality and stability. So you have your income, you've got your public accountability and preventing corruption.
Time to pause. Please stop. Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
And then you have your team organizing, coordination, and collaboration. I think that's all I have. Oh, and we have external government deadlines. You have your external government deadlines, your income and financial stability, your public accountability for any corruption, and your team and organizational coordination and collaboration. All right, so then we have everything listed, all the priorities listed, and then whether or not there's a deadline set. So all of our external government deadlines have set deadlines. We're good on that. Done. For the income and financial stability is where we have lots of problems, right? We have, only like less than a third, probably about a third of these have deadlines. So executive fundraising has a deadline. I don't know if it really matters much because we're not doing it. The all client plan has a deadline now, which is great, but again, we're also not doing it. So maybe we can put here, are we doing it, right? So in this case, yes, we are meeting our government deadlines barely. And then for the financial stability, we're not doing executive fundraising, we're not doing the client plan. Bills, I would say, partial. partially we're completing that because the problem with the bills is that we're not updating the bills. So if the bills are never updated, you can't actually verify that the bills are happening. Assets portfolio balancing is not really happening in any type of regular basis, but we do have a new deadline set for that. Payroll voting. So we're getting better on the payroll voting, but basically right now we're talking about actually setting up an actual payroll deadline. Payroll functionality, also we're making progress there, but we're not really doing that. So basically we're talking about a new deadline for on-time payroll, which doesn't exist yet. So our payroll has lots of problems here. Investor campaign. So currently we do not have any sort of investor outreach. We don't have any donor outreach. We don't really do any client outreach. We're not doing any grants, and we're not doing any team fundraising. Fully completing work. This is a deadline for getting paid, not pay stub bonuses. Fully completing work. Yeah. So we don't really have any deadlines for fully completing work. We usually
Time
just
to stretch. Please stop, stand up, and stretch and move around for 30 seconds.
all right, quick step. Deadlines, equity ownership, weekly check-in. So we sort of set a deadline for a weekly check-in, but we haven't actually activated it. But obviously, we're pretty much not doing anything for our financial stability, even though we did start to set a few deadlines, but we're just not actually doing it. So report, again, we haven't actually completed any of our reporting. We only did drafts. But I'll give us a maybe for a draft. The draft is pretty good, right? So we have a draft for our budget, our finance report, our equity report, and our assets report. We have drafts for all of these. Also, we have a new plasma reports and MBE staffing reports. These also do not have, well, they kind of had deadlines sort of, but we're not doing them. Recruitment, we do have a deadline on this, and we are doing our recruitment sort of. We didn't really meet our last recruitment deadline, so I'll give it a maybe. Public events, planetary. We're not doing any planetary stuff.